before we start going over the rigid body part section, I'm just going to show you the final result here. So here we have the helicopter pushing the crate. It looks really nice. This is from the camera view. I'm going to finish this scene later. And then you'll see here from the side view how it looks like. All right, let me close this one here. Don't save it. And here is the scene that we are going to be doing. So basically here is what we were working before, but I actually remove the 4 different cables or chains. That is because basically we're going to repeat the same thing for the 4 chains, and I'm going to show you how. Don't worry about that, but it's going to be easier for you to understand just using one. So a few things that we need to take into account, a few things that are important. First thing is save your project before you start doing this whole process. Sometimes things bug and then you do Ctrl Z, and then Blender crashes. So please have a backup. Second thing is do every step of the rigid body as small as you can. What do I mean by that? If you're going to connect, so first we're going to connect the chain to the cube, then the chain to this holder, and then the crate to the holder. So one at a time. Don't try to do all at once, because then if something goes wrong, and something will go wrong, you don't know what to change and what needs to be fixed. So a few things that are important also for us to do on all of our assets is apply all. So make sure that you apply all. I'm just not going to do that on the chain because we're going to separate the chain. So apply all here. Then the chain, we're going to come here on edit mode, select all, and then P by loose part. So we're going to be separating by loose part. So now we have each individual chain. Here you see that the origin is not in the middle of the object. So what we're going to do is actually select all these objects. Then object, let me see, is on the top. Yeah, it's on the top. Set origin to geometry. And now let's just take a look. And now it's in the middle. Okay, so with that done, we can start the process of rigid body. So I'm going to select this last one here. Okay, I'm going to apply the rigid body to it, having all the other ones selected, or you can select everything later, it doesn't matter, but just take into account that here I'm using a collection, so everything is really optimized. So please make sure that your Blender file is also organized. So we come here, rigid body. This is going to be active. The mass, let's put 0.1. Dynamic, that's all right. And let's maintain convex hull. And everything can stay the same actually. Now what we're going to do is object, rigid body, copy from active. So all the other ones that are selected are going to copy the same information that we just did together. So everything now has the rigid body. Now let's apply here on this main holder. So rigid body, this one is also going to be active, but we don't want him to be affected by the physics inside the Blender file, meaning if we have the force fields here, let's say here, for example, wind, force field, vortex, whatever it is, we don't want that to be affecting this geometry. We want the keyframes to be affecting the geometry. And this is one of the things that took me the most amount of time to figure out, because most tutorials didn't cover when you have like a main object pushing the other ones. So here I'm going to select animated. So basically we're going to get the rigid body information from the animation, and I'm going to select here and create a keyframe on location rotation. Then I'm going to come here to frame 140 more or less, push it here, push it up, then same thing, location rotation. Now come back to first frame. So we have this ready. We can already, actually shape here I'm going to put as compound parent. Here, to be fair, I tested with all the different options, and compound parent was the one that worked the best for this junction parts. Then I'm also going to create a rigid body. Actually, first let's test this too. So step by step, like I said. So I'm going to select all the chains. I'm going to select this one. I'm going to press space, and I'm going to click connect. Rigid body connect. Then here I'm going to choose chain by distance. So we do by the distance of each object, okay? Point, and then location active. Let's see, where does it put? So it puts here, so that's fine. More or less in the middle of the chain, maybe center. So active. So select active, and now let's just test, see what happens. So we press play here. Let's see. It is losing the connection with. So let's first connect all the chains together, and then we connect the chain to the crate. So here, let's click, select all, let's click connect, then chain by distance, point, and active, and let's see. Yes, they are all connected. So good, so that's done for the first one. Now let's select this one and this one, and let's click connect, chain by distance, active, and let's put fixed. Let's see how this is going to play out. Nice, that's it. So that was the problem. So basically we just needed to first connect the chains individually and then connect the chain to our box. Okay, so now we come back here and let's make this more friction to 1. Okay, so this basically means that resistance of object to movement. So the resistance is really, really low. So that's 1. Actually, I think it's so 0. So there's no resistance at all. So it just follows the cube easier and it doesn't bounce that much. Yes, perfect. Now, what we're going to do is connect this to this one. So let's create rigid body. This, let's put 0.2 kilograms. Let's also change to compound parent. Select this. Oh, let's move this a little bit. Select this, click connect, fixed again, and active, chain by distance. All of this is good. And let's press play. And we are losing. Actually, it's still connected, but it's not completely fixed. So there can be a variety of different things, but the first thing that I think is happening is the constraint. So let's remove the last constraint that we added. Let's also save here because the chance of crashing is quite high when you're pressing Ctrl Z. Select both. Dynamic, that's 0.1 also. It's basically, actually, no, let's put 1 because this is a really strong metal that is holding the crate. Friction, let's put it 0, and then let's connect. Fixed, yes. Location active, and select to active, and then center. Let's see. It's almost holding together, but it's losing a little bit until the point where it completely loses it. Basically, it's more or less there. We just need to make this as strong as this to make sure that it stays connected and this doesn't fly away. So let's just go with this 0.2 for now. And now we have all of this connected. Let's just connect now the crate. And for the crate, I'm actually want to push the origin to this vertex point in the middle of my box because I want the connection to happen there. So I also want to place the object itself more or less there. So it's going to be like this, which is weird because now we have this in the way, but let's select all. Oops, then G, Y, and then push like this. And now let's do the same here. Okay, let's just leave it like this. So now we create a rigid body. This is probably like, let's put something like 2 kilos and also compound parent. Okay, friction also to 0. Then we select both, we push to connect. And then here, let's say to active and fixed. Let's see if this connects everything. It kind of does, but because it's just one of this magnet holding all this piece, it's kind of too heavy to hold it. So we'll have to play around a little bit with the mass. Let's say if we put 0.1, we probably want to make it work. Yeah, it works better. But you see that you kind of have to take into account the weight of your object. And then you see now it also balances so much because it's super, super light. So one thing that I'm actually want to do is come here, rigid body rolled. This is fine. Custom property, actually field weights. I want to put, yeah, gravity is already at 0.1, but let's just put at 0 to see what happens. Oh, we lose completely gravity. So I want more gravity actually. So the box doesn't go flying around so much. Yeah, but now it's a matter of combining this to make sure that also this has enough weight to carry the big box. So let's put 1, but then this needs to be even stronger. So let's put it 2. Let's see what happens. Let's stop seeing all these different things. Now it connects, but you see that this small one is not super strong to carry the whole box. And because you're carrying on the middle, basically the whole box is just doing this all over the place, using this as a pivot. So that's why also when you add the 4 different ones to each side, it's going to work best. And then it's the same thing that we did here. Once one chain per time, so meaning that you connect the chain 1 first, all the chain 2 first, all the chain 3 first, all the chain 4 last. Then you select chain 1, then select the main holder. Then the same thing for the chain 2. Same thing that we did, you do separate for each and single one of the assets. So here with the box also, 1 for this, 1 for the other one, 1 for the other one, and 1 for the other one. After you finish that, you have your whole box being pushed by this small crate here. But let's say, for example, we want to make this work. Let's just make the whole thing super heavy. So we also make the chains more heavy. So let's select this one. Let's push to, let's say, 4 object. Copy from active. So I think this one needs to be a bit stronger. And then this is going to be like 2 kilos. And then this is 0.1. So we should be getting something more plausible. Yeah. See, still we are missing that, but then you can kind of play around. If after you put all the 3 other points here of contact and still you are losing the contact with the shape, you can play around with this shape here. Let's say choose mesh, and that is going to basically change how the whole thing interacts with each other. In this case, it broke the whole thing. So let's not use mesh here. Let's see, convolve. But in my experience, the compound path is the one that works best. Compound parent, sorry. So just stick to that and add the 3 other chains and you have the same thing that I have in the other blend file. I'm just gonna quickly open it here so you can see. So you have, let's put in the first frame here. So you have all these different things. So the connection here, again, compound parent, 1 kilo each of this, and the box is 2 kilos, and it's connected on these points. And then here also there's connection with them, 0.1 kilos, all of them, and then 0.2, the main one. And then you see, it kind of maintains everything and works really, really nice. So that's basically it for the rigid body. That's everything you need to know to create these chains that are carrying boxes, and then you can do everything you want, necklace, whatever it is. Last part is basically I'm going to finish this scene and we are going to see the final results.